Broadway is struggling right now, but it's not all bad news. There are some things that we're doing right, and I want to learn how to capitalize on them. Let's unpack. Hey friends, if you're new here, my name is Katharine Quinn, and I am a 30-something living in New York City and working on Broadway. Last year, I worked on Shucked and How to Dance in Ohio. This year, I am working on The Great Gatsby and other shows TBD. As always, YouTube fam is the first ones to find out about it, and I am obsessed with improving the Broadway experience and bringing more audiences to Broadway. In case you aren't aware, Broadway has hit a bit of a rough moment. Shows are closing very quickly, 8 out of 10 Broadway shows don't make their money back, and we don't have our pre-pandemic audiences back. We're down about 20%. And we weren't recouping even before the pandemic, so we really need to bring some new audiences in. With that in mind, I did a survey of about 500 people on my Instagram to ask what we're doing wrong, what we're doing right, and what we can do about it. So, a little information first about the demographics of those surveyed. Also, if you missed my previous videos in this series, I'll link them down below and also over here. Okay, we had about 500 participants, 11% of whom are based in New York City. Everyone else out of New York. 35% are 18 to 24, then 26% are 25 to 35, 20% are teenagers, 13 to 17, and 35 to 44-year-olds made up 13%. So this is a skewing younger audience. I've talked about this in previous videos, but the Broadway League produces a demographics report every single year, and I did a video on their 22 to 23 demographics. I'm gonna make one for 23, 24. But first, I want to dig into this audience. The thing that I think is exciting is that the Broadway League report respondents skew older and this audience skews younger. And so for me, it feels like indicators of what audiences are going to want in the future because I'm pulling younger folks. The future of Broadway. 60% of the respondents were female, 72% of respondents have seen 5 or more Broadway shows in their lifetime, and 58% follow more than 6 Broadway social media accounts. So these are our Broadway lovers, our Broadway fans, and for my money, an underserved audience, especially online. So what is Broadway doing right? Here is what our survey respondent said. I feel like this calls for rolling up the sleeves. It's worth noting, the reason that I'm doing this, I'm super passionate about Broadway, super passionate about bringing new audiences in, and I work in marketing on Broadway, and I hope to produce on Broadway someday. But I want a different and frankly better landscape before I do that. So part of what my work is having these discussions. I'm never wanting to just like monologue. I genuinely want this to incite some conversation that will be between us and hopefully in the industry at large. To create a better industry for all of us. The company that I do that through is called And That's Showbiz. You can also follow that down in the link below. We're on all social media platforms, and it's also the company through which I'm running social media on The Great Gatsby on Broadway. Disclaimers are done. Let's move ahead. All right, friends. The number one thing that people cited was working well on Broadway. So it's really interesting. Gotta wait for that information. The last video was about what is it working in the show-going experience. Folks cited that Broadway had a brand problem. Folks don't know what it is that your $168 average ticket price is going towards. This video will hopefully help answer that question of what it is that we should be capitalizing on. Everyone said, or not everyone, that's speaking in hyperbole. Many folks cited how Broadway is a singular experience, how every single Broadway performance is unique. Other words used, special. Many folks cited the magic, immersion, once in a lifetime, being swept up, escaping reality, escaping daily life, electricity, having fun, the wall of sound, the lights, the immersive nature, the culture. So these are the things that we need to be capitalizing on when we are sharing what the magic of Broadway is, why you should come see a Broadway show. It is singular, and it's so interesting that the word magic kept coming up. And it's true, it is a competitive advantage that theater has over AI, over television, over movies. And listen, I love you, Nicole Kidman, and yes, there's the magic of the movies. The magic of theater is different. Those are live human beings directly in front of you, belting tits or telling you great stories. Forgive my crudeness, but you know what I'm saying? It is singular and it is magical. And like, we should be showcasing that. And I don't just mean in individual Broadway shows. Like, we genuinely need a campaign where we like showcase the magic of theater because it is actually magical. And I've said this before, but like, we need to be bringing in new audiences to Broadway, not just capitalize. We need to serve the audiences we already have 100% and improve their experience. And also, we need to be inviting new audiences in. I say this all the time, but 400,000 people walk through Times Square every single day. If every single Broadway theater had a show running in it, we would need to put 38,000 butts in seats per performance, which is just 1/10 of the foot traffic that we already have in the neighborhood. So we need to bring more audiences in, which means creating a less intimidating and better experience for those folks. And what is one thing that we can offer them? Magic. Multiple people noted that the stage door is a unique and special experience. You can't greet TV and film celebrities after you watch your favorite TV show or see a movie. Stage dooring is a magical part of the Broadway experience. A lot of folks cited how it is a communal experience. The people next to you pre-show and at intermission. I'm autistic, so that's sort of my worst nightmare. In spite of myself, I enjoy making friends with the people next to me. There's always an interesting story, what brought them to the theater, why they cared to see this show, etc., etc. Plus, people are nice. Also, I'm reading Burnout right now, and by reading I mean listening to on audiobook. What I'm doing right now is I'm listening, I know you want to know this info, I'm listening to my nonfiction and reading my fiction at night, you know? So like on my walks, I get my nonfiction fix, then I read my book before bed. It's great. That social interactions make people happier, even for grumpy little introverts. That's what the book Burnout says by the Nagoski sisters. So they're really smart, and I'm really enjoying the book, and I believe them, so. Is it ironic that I'm filming this at 10:11 p.m. at night and hoping to film at least one more video after this and talking about reading the book Burnout? Beep boop, beep boop. Anyway, I like making friends with my neighbors. Lots of people talk about the theater community, both theater lovers and the like actors and that whole community. I think it's something about the fact that we were all kind of weirdos at one point. You know, I think I talk about this a lot, but theater is in the zeitgeist in a way that it hasn't been in a long time, and yet theater kids are all just like a little weird. We're just like a bunch of little weirdos. And so I think there's something really magical about getting a bunch of like kids who were weirdos together in space, special interesting together. It's just like kind of magical. And also, I don't know, you're sitting in that seat, so you're sort of subscribing to like, we're all gonna like release into the magic that's about to happen. And that's like, it's pretty awesome. It's like going to Disney World, you know? You're just like, we're on this ride together. Also, people talked about the reaction of people watching. So for me, that's like the gasps that we get in Gatsby. Like, did we not all read this book? Yes, it's a party, but there's a lot of tragedy there. The gasps in Hadestown. We know what's gonna happen. We were literally told what was gonna happen. That's an issue with me and my autism. I never think it's gonna turn out differently, but like some people evidently do. The magic of the actors, both the stars and the understudy. So it was really interesting. A number of people responded saying they love seeing understudy nights, which makes me so happy. Yes, it's so great to see Broadway stars. And also, I love understudy nights. I prefer an understudy night most of the time. 9 out of 10 times I prefer an understudy show. You wanna know why? Because people are on their game. It just does a little zing to the entire cast, because like they're all there to support the new cast member. It's like, do the show, and also we gotta bolster this person. We all gotta be on our A game because this person, they may be like going to an interesting place, and by that I mean like shove with love. Anyway, I love a little white slip in my playbill. It makes me very happy, and I'm glad that other people feel that way too. Also, you can play Swingo, a very fun game. Make sure you see everybody in that role. Okay, small houses versus touring venues. Oh, this was so interesting. A couple of folks were saying they really like seeing Broadway shows because the size of the house is a lot smaller than their local touring venue, which is so true. Like, I'm from Dallas, and the capacity of Dallas Summer Musicals in the Winsphere I'll put up here, but they're definitely bigger, and you are definitely further away. Broadway is like a remarkably intimate theatrical experience. Our biggest Broadway house is like around 1,900 seats, I think. Is that right? Although I'll check myself. How many seats are in the Gershwin? Or 1781 is like weirdly in my brain, but I don't know that that's right. Anyway, smaller houses, which we love. Oh, people talked about how they love continuing the experience with cast recordings. As a marketer, my brain is like, ooh, okay, let's parlay this into a lot more things. I never don't want to come up with like more interesting ways to make it a repeatable experience, or gamify the experience, or eventify the experience, or just like offer folks more ways into the experience and create like an entire fandom, a universe, a whole world that people can escape to. Like, that is one of the things I'm having the most fun with the old sports on Gatsby. It's so much fun. Okay, the beauty of the theaters. And the history of the theaters. Look at these gorgeous theaters that we're putting up on the screen here. These stunning historic venues. They really are beautiful. And I marvel at them like every time I see a show, and just like, you know. On that note, what is Broadway doing right? What is our special sauce? What is our competitive advantage? What is it that we need to be capitalizing on, and what story is it that we need to be telling tourists that like we offer this thing that you should spend your time in New York doing and spend your money on? What is working for you? What is the magic of Broadway? Please leave a comment below. As always, thank you so much for watching this video. It makes a huge difference if you like, comment, and subscribe. Genuinely, as a YouTube creator, it is the thing that lets the algorithm know what wonderful people to push this video out to. People just like you. As always, I invite you to follow me on Instagram and TikTok. Thank you again so much for watching, and I'll see you in the comments section. Bye.